somebody else, and hopefully they'll add mic delay. But if I do it on StreamYard right now, my mouth will be off in the audio a little bit. I'm not a huge I'm not a huge Ecamm fan, but it allows my mouth to line up with the video a little bit better.
Yeah, it's probably necessary.
How you doing, man?
Good. Welcome to Fantasy Fight headquarters. It sucks. The gear's not getting in until next week, so I said I'll just go.
Who did your gear?
I just got it from so I was talking with Mason and Rudis to try to get
Hold on a second. We're live. We're live just in case you want to say anything or don't want to say anything.
No, that's fine.
Yep.
No, I understand. Yeah, so we were talking with Rudis to try to get them to just host our stuff in the store, which would be cool. But for this first batch, just for stuff like this, right, I wish I had a hat, a shirt. I just got a Vista print, one of those.
Yep. How many active members you got right now?
So we got 121 last time I checked. So
you got past the 100. Man. You got past the 100 mark then, huh?
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool seeing what really gets me fired up. And for people watching that don't know what we're talking about Fantasy Fight League, which is my gaming platform that I just launched. Conversion rate is crazy. Right? We're seeing a third of people who visit the site sign up. And
wow.
We're seeing a person who signs up is playing an average of 3 games. So I onboarded my buddy Wrestling Meme Page, who's gonna help.
I saw that.
Yeah, he's gonna help run some of the wrestling games. I got a guy who I used to work with who does MMA stuff. He's gonna run the MMA games, and eventually, so we partnered with Fubo. And we have another pretty big partnership that we're about to lock up. So Fubo, offers Big Ten Network. So that's kind of what we're going to do for wrestling. We have a partner set up for UFC, and then in the spring, we're going to work with PLL and get some lacrosse going and, try to branch it out.
PLL, what is it, PFL or PL? What do you mean PLL?
So PLL, yeah, I say that people know who it is. PLL is Professional Lacrosse League. So they just bought Major League Lacrosse, and they're, in terms of sports tech and startup sports leagues, PLL is at the forefront. FCF, I'm wearing the FCF hat too. They're the same kind of thing, right? It's really heavy fan interaction, right? The fans can pick the team names and where the city is, and they have a say in the color, and stuff like that. So we're probably gonna run some FCF games too, but yeah, I'm talking about lacrosse on a Ohio State stream. Who you got? I gotta pull your. I love that feature on the leaderboard where you can go through and click people's names and see who they pick.
Who do I have on this one?
I was gonna ask, and I was pulling it up, and I can see who you got. Beckham Mendy, Sasso, Spencer, Rocky Jordan, Ethan Smith.
Yes, sir. I try to pick people. This is Chris Christian, by the way. He's on Twitter, okayest mind in wrestling, something like that. Is that still your name, Chris, or did you go back to Chris Christian?
I went back to Chris Christian because I made a joke about being able to cuss if you're a Christian, and that I was a Christian by birth. But I'll probably turn it back to the okayest brain in wrestling soon.
Come on, man. I don't know who we met before.
No, I don't think we've met. Obviously, you're famous, and I'm a dude who likes to talk shit about wrestling. So
it's funny, especially. I was gonna say behind. So I worked in the NFL for a long time before I worked at Flow, and I always found it disingenuous when the social media person wanted to be especially in the NFL, the people that run the team accounts think they're a player or part of the team. So I always thought that was kind of lame and didn't want to be fan facing, right? I didn't want people to know who it is. It's the brand. You put on a mask and you're the brand. So I meet people all the time and they're like, "Oh, nice to meet you." Vicky Anthony, I was talking to the other day. She's like, "Oh, nice to meet you." I'm like, "Nice to meet me. I've been going back and forth with you for 2 years. What do you mean?" She doesn't know.
So we're watching the duel here. Malik Heinzelman is not wrestling and Spencer Lee is wrestling. So if you bet on Iowa, if you bet on Ohio State, that's not great. but I don't think it's that much of a big deal because weren't we predicting
I gave
probably?
him 6.
Yeah. So either way, it's just now we have 0% shot. But Malik Heinzelman was warming up here. Especially he's already got the arm here, but
He was just on the side in his gear.
yeah, with straps up and everything. Wow.
Ooh, he's gonna pin him quick. Kuntz is good too. He's Greco guy, right? He's like Greco world level
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah. Junior World Greco, I think, team member.
Yeah, I know he was. Maybe he was Final X. Was he in Final X? I can't remember, but the name, he's a good wrestler.
I think he has a brother who's really good too, if I remember correctly, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I like how DeSanto's already like warming up. He's like already ready to run out there. Like not even a minute into the first period, 10-0.
That's like the worst situation to be in. When I wrestled in high school, we had a 2-pounder wrestle heavyweight. We had a 215-pounder who just mollywopped people. And it's like, bro, when do I start warming up, right? Like you wrestle after Spencer Lee, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna start warming up now.
Like literally. I mean, that kind of sucks. So we had 3 really good 25-pounders at West Lafayette today, and we didn't get to see any of them wrestle each other. Now, who knows if Schroeder and Heinzelman are going to wrestle each other? But why would Tom Ryan do that? I'm not a huge Tom Ryan fan right now, to be honest with you, especially after the tweet that went out last week.
I mean,
I missed a tweet.
maybe for seating purposes, he wants to keep, Heinzelman's wrestling really well. And I know some of his issues, it seemed like, were a little bit mental last year. So maybe they're saying, okay, hey, let's not have this test yet. Let's do this at Big Tens.
So Cody Arnold says that the Kuntz are twin bros. So are we talking about the wrong one? I don't know either. I have no idea either.
Maybe.
Well, winner by
is.
fall. So, not great, but I think that was, predicted. So it is what it is. What are you holding up?
Beer time, right?
Beer time, yeah. Super Bowl Sunday, baby.
I
know who Joe's cheering for.
I was like, it's too early.
Wherever it go, Bucks. I have a helmet back there.
Joe, do you care about football, or is that just a job?
With football, I mean, I was a Giants fan, right? So I worked with the Giants and I worked with the Bucks. I was always a wrestler. But here's a funny story: when Kyle Snyder beat Sajalayev and Rogers, Packers, good organization. But when Kyle Snyder was wrestling Sajalayev, I was walking through a tunnel for a Bucks game, following on my phone, and I started going so crazy in my suit, walking through like the breezeway. That security flagged me and was like, "Bro, what's wrong with you?" I was like, "Stop! What are you talking about?" I was like, "USA just won the
World Championship."
Yeah, I was all gassed up in the press box, and everyone was like, "I don't care."
Oh, here's the other Kuntz.
So I don't know what I had on this one here. Is this their starter too?
I went.
I should have been Decatur, right?
No, they had Decatur.
Dude, we're getting hosed.
Yeah, it was Decatur, and I had Decatur losing by major. So, obviously you were you said you worked with football, and then you went to Flow. What was your biggest thing that got you into wanting to work with wrestling?
So here's a long story. So I wrestled for Bergen Catholic when I was in high school and was just like a wrestling guy to begin with. And so I went to Bloomsburg very briefly and dropped out after like a year and a half. And I'm doing like odd jobs trying to, figure out what I'm doing. I know what I wanted to do. This is maybe 2011. I got the banner up. I'm going to show you guys. So I started this website. Can you see it? Yeah. This website called Garden State Wrestling back in 2011. And just kind of, we were streaming matches in 2011 across New Jersey. And that kind of parlayed into a position with NJ.com and the Star Ledger, mostly covering wrestling. So, but as I'm working at the newspaper, right, that's 2012, 2013. It's like the turn of the internet. So I'm seeing all these old head journalists like, damn, I made a bad decision. I shouldn't have taken this career path, right? So I kind of, started cold calling the Giants. Took maybe like a year. I was like, bro, I'll do anything. Like, it doesn't matter. I'll intern. I'll do whatever. And eventually they brought me an intern. got me a job, got me a better job at the Bucks. And then something popped up with Flo, and I had known Joe Williamson since the Garden State Wrestling days, right? I met him back then. So Joe hooked me up with that gig.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, the early days, I mean, I wasn't as big into it. I was living in San Diego. I ran a promotional company. I was partying all the time. But when Flow first started coming around, I was watching your little documentaries, some of the really early stuff. And then and then it started getting bigger and you started doing like the stall camp stuff. And that was just amazing. So I always, we knew your name, right? But I didn't really know much about your where your background came from. And you weren't a radio personality. So it wasn't like Willie or Piles where we got to kind of hear pretty much anything and everything that ever happened to them in their life within the sport of wrestling.
Santo going off. Yeah, it's been, I mean, it was cool. Again, that was kind of on purpose though, right? I didn't want to be like the social media guy because you're speaking on behalf of the brand. It becomes disingenuous when it's like you speaking on behalf of the brand and people know who you are and you can't be goofy and like say fun stuff. They're like, oh, Joe is, posting more DeSanto memes.
Well, I mean, you think about officiating, right? You should never know the name of an official.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So. Like if a coach knows your name, it's kind of bad if a coach knows who you are a lot of times, right?
Yeah. So we'll plug Fantasy Fight League as we're talking in here. So the way that points are scored, it's kind of like a team score, but I flipped techs and pins, right? I was like, man, for me, especially in folk style, you beat someone by 15 points. I think that's more impressive than pinning someone. So you get points for, you get most points for attack and then pin major decision. And then if you lose, you still get points for losing, but it's the inverse, right? So if you lose by decision, you get more than if it's a major pin or attack.
Okay.
So when we're building out tournaments,
Brady just might have saved us a point, by the way. Sorry.
The what?
He was pretty much dead to rights and got off his back. So sorry. Yeah. And I agree with you. Coming from a guy who was I couldn't pin a lot of people, but I mean, I think my junior year I had like 14 tech falls, right? So I was big on scoring a lot of points. And I agree with you. It's almost more impressive to be able to put up that many points rather than be down by 10 and throw some guy to his back and get lucky, right?
Yeah, or even like if you're like really good on top and you lock someone up in a cradle and pin them, like I guess, but beat someone by a 15-point margin, like you took that dude's lunch.
That's cool. And then I kind of played with it a little bit, but to kind of get a little more information. So you pull each player. Is it kind of like allotting a certain amount of points? Like you can pull, you have 100 points, like DraftKings kind of was, where you could pull players worth certain values, or are you just going to keep it in that pool system? We say these 4 guys. Here's 4 guys. Here's 4 guys. Pull one guy from every pool.
Yeah. So for those who are watching fantasyfightleague.com, for tournaments, it's going to be much easier because you could just say like pick a 125 pounder, pick a 133 pounder, and then they pick up points the same way like they would do team scoring. For duels, if we just did like pick wrestler A, pick wrestler B, we would have to do that type of like give them a cap. You have 100 points to pick. I was like, man, let's just like group together everyone that's projected to get a tech, everyone that's projected to get a major, kind of like that. And it's like, okay, now you got to pick 5 starters, but like you can't pick Kemmerer and Marinelli and Spencer Lee and DeSanto. You got to pick one. And then it also like at the bottom, guys who are projected to get mollywop, it's like, okay, now I got to pick, now I got to root for Decatur not to get tech. They'll get more points,
Yeah. Who's gonna lose the best?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like team points, right? Like you put them out there and it's like your job is to not get pinned, right? Your guy, if it was, I thought Decatur was a good example, or even Heinzelman, right? You're projected to get tech. Like if he gets major, that's good for your team.
And then how does the long term of that go? Is it going to be a weekly, daily, weekly type site, or is it going to be a seasonal type situation?
So it's individual games, but the way it works is you can go into the leaderboard and you could sort by sport and date range. So we partnered with Mario Mason's shoe company, Shot Docs, for this first prize. So if you're at the top of the wrestling leaderboard at the end of the month, you get a prize, and it'll be a pair of these shoes this time. So you're incentivizing, and there are a bunch of sports, right? Like you're incentivized to play more games. The more games you play, the more points you're going to score, no matter what it is. So we're seeing a good, we're seeing a bunch of people play. Like people who are signing up are playing an average of 2-3 games. Love to see. We have I was telling Zach before, we secured Ironman and Ecommendia. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say it now. I'm excited to watch this one. Now you're catching me like actually watching the wrestling.
Yeah, this is. I mean, of the
here we go
matchup. This is one that I think everybody kind of has circled. With Ironman obviously as the favorite, but I mean,
there we go.
About to get taken down.
I'm at 240 for anybody.
Okay, you're 10 seconds ahead of me. Let me fast forward real quick.
Joe, what are you at?
I'm at 230 right now.
Same.
I'm at 230 right now.
We're all about the same. Did you guys pause it and wait for me, or am I finally on time for once?
You were actually 10 seconds ahead of me because I was still on the same stream as last time. So you're sped up a little bit.
Someone said I came here.
Gigantic.
I came here for Slipknot, and this is what popped up. I'm not disappointed. Hey, Slipknot in the house, baby. If you're 5'5", then I'm 6'6", baby. Iowa. I saw them last year in concert. 0-0.
How old are they? Did they come out in their walkers or?
They're not as old as you'd think. I don't think. They're probably in their 40s.
Okay, that's not that bad.
It's not like they're wheeling AC/DC out there.
No. Even Metallica was bad, man. I saw Metallica at ACL here in Austin not long ago, and like Kirk Hammett did not look good. It's like this is kind of sad.
I went to Stevie Nicks a couple years ago with the wife, and it was fun because we were really close up front, but you could tell she's. Oh.
I'll tell you what, and I don't want to jinx anything, but if Ecommendia. Oh no!
Oh,
okay.
He went for it. What were you gonna say?
If Ecommendia wins here, then it kind of cancels out the rest of this bad stuff that's happened, right? Because I don't think we picked Ecommendia to win, right?
I mean, we're only down a point on what we thought it was going to be. We had a pin and a major. We got a pin and a tech.
Fellers, join the chat or join the stream. I sent you a link.
Yeah, we're only a point away from where we thought we were going to be anyways. We had a point in a major, and now we got a point in a tech. I mean, a pin and a tech. But yes, if Ecommendia wins, it looks very good for the rest of everyone else. Did you get any money on this, Joe?
No, I just have my fantasy team that I'm doing this.
Awesome. Yes, I played with it a little bit. I set something for the Iowa Purdue matchup. So Spencer Lee not wrestling kind of hurt me a little bit. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how your system goes. I think it's a fun way to keep active daily, weekly, like you were saying. Win shoes. I'll take some free shoes whenever you have them.
Yeah, and I was talking and I jumped on Tony Hager's show the other day with Fellers. I was saying I was watching this. I think it was a Gable documentary. Nancy Schultz was talking, and she was like, "Man, it's such a beautiful intricacies of all these little micro. But like, if you don't know anything about wrestling, you don't have a reason to care." So for me, it's okay. Like, at least if you have a fantasy team, you have some kind of vested interest in matches you might otherwise. It's a gambling principle, right? Like, it's why people watch D3 college basketball and get fired up about it. It's like, oh, I've got some skin in the game.
Yeah, I always tell people if you ever want to become interested in a sport, put $1 on it. Like have something that makes you want to cheer for it.
So who's the sports book that you guys have been using? What's their deal?
It's William Hill out of Iowa. So as far as I know, there's only a couple states that'll actually allow you to bet on wrestling, even if William Hill's in your state. Like we were going over this earlier. I think it's like Missouri has William Hill, but they don't have the wrestling bets on there. But I'm hoping that they keep dabbling in it more and more. They did it at the very end of the year last year, and then they did it. It's basically only Iowa duels too, which kind of sucks. I wish they would do more, like at least Iowa State and maybe you and I. Like if they're just doing Iowa, but like it'd be cool if they had like every wrestling match on the board.
Yeah, I mean, getting into the gambling stuff, there's some I don't know, some legal issues with being able to do stuff like that. Right?
For
Like in
you?
Texas, like if I wanted, well, just in general, for anyone taking that type of online sports betting in general, like that needs to be geo-targeted because there are some states that don't allow online sports betting. So if you're running an online sports betting website, it needs to be blocked out for certain states that don't allow that.
Yeah, when
You
I
know,
was
like
driving
a
across
little,
the country, I ran into that driving across the country where some states would allow it and some states wouldn't. And some states have just different rules as to how you can do it. So you have to have a completely different app. Even if you have DraftKings, you need DraftKings Illinois or whatever it is, right?
mm-hmm.
Because they're a little bit different. So if you want to get into the stock market, bet DraftKings
No, time's up.
because they are as it opens up every state, DraftKings is publicly traded, and that stock's going to start rising because you're going to see more and more states jumping on because they want a piece of that revenue, right? It's the same as anything. The state goes, oh wait, we get taxes from this, okay.
Yep. So that's why, like, for me right now, my model is just user acquisition and partnerships, right? Like we struck a deal with Fubo as like an affiliate partner, where if you sign up for Big Ten Network through our tracking link, you get paid, you know, strike some deals with partners to sponsor prizes and stuff like that. And for me, like the long play is 100K users.
He's stuck.
Oh, he's gonna get pinned.
No.
Wow.
I told you yesterday, Zach. Once that Tremendia got underneath Ironman, it was going to be problems.
Man. When was the last time? I doubt Eckermendia has ever been put in a cradle in his entire life.
Oh, outside of maybe practice, like, hey, this is what a cradle is.
Yeah.
I like Fubo. I've used Fubo, in years past. So that they're a cool partner as far as streaming sports services.
What was that?
So I've used Fubo for like football and stuff like that to stream in the past, so they're good. Oh shit!
Look who's here. Look at the wind blew in. Can you hear us, Mr. Felters? What'd you think of that? Can you hear us?
What's going on in Columbus?
Right away.
Huh? That parterre defense wasn't very good.
Joe might still have some friends over in Flow Legal that are going to come talk to you.
I'm just waiting for Joe to play the guitar.
Like this? I don't even know how to play it. You see my Bergen Catholic singlet back here? Hold on. I'm going to get this.
Do you think Tom Ryan puts a tweet out about Ironman's recruitment after this duel or not?
That'll be the only thing that's going to save him.
Here's the thing, and I know I'm a Tom Ryan.
Got to go on the wall.
That first two matches of the duel, their coaching staff didn't even get off the bench or like coach the guys up. Like they're just like, all right, you're gonna get you're gonna get your ass beat. Just go on.
I mean, what's that tell to the kid the rest of the year too? You know.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I mean,
they fed the Kuntzes to the wolves. Tom Ryan knew what he was doing.
Okay, but if you're Jay Jaggers hasn't even got up and tied his shoes yet. He's still got the shoe game going. I think he's still shining his shoes in the corner right now.
I mean, Heinzelman was like suited up and ready to go. I think he was confused.
I mean, he's on a roll. He's on a roll. If he goes out and gets pinned in 45 seconds, his confidence, it's probably a confidence thing. I don't think that's a bad move.
I would have thrown him out there. What'd you make of Lee not wrestling Schroeder?
I don't know.
Did you see that coming?
No. I mean, especially Tech Fall, or did he tech him in the Big Ten finals?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but
one of the other guys last duel mentioned that Terry's first move as a head coach was to bench Spencer Lee.
I was
Cody
more-
Arnold.
I thought that Ryan Morningstar stealing Terry's vest and wearing it today was kind of a strong move too. You guys missed out on that shit. You had does he have Ohio State shirt on?
Yeah, he does.
I need them to cover. I need them to cover. I'm not an Ohio State fan. I will tell you this. I am not an Ohio State fan, but I will put it on for them to cover today.
I agree, but that's not going to happen now.
You think it's out already?
65, 70. I mean,
Did we have
97.
Sasso winning?
oh yeah. I mean,
I had Sasso winning a decision.
yeah, he's going to win. I mean, he should win. I don't know if he's going to win.
But the problem is we had Ironman winning a decision, so there's a 3-point. We had Spencer
he
Lee
wrestled
getting
the
a tag.
backup, Chris.
What'd you say?
He wrestled the backup.
Who?
I
Ironman?
know.
Yeah.
D'Amelio?
No, Echemeni is the backup.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. You're saying D'Amelio is the number one guy?
I mean, they threw the first three guys. They put three backups at the first three guys in the duel.
It's been a rough week for Tom Ryan.
It's gonna get. Yeah, I love it.
Dude, Urine is throwing some clubs right now.
I wish Sasso would get a little bit of his gangster back in him.
Like
I
last
think
year.
I think 49 is a tough cut for him. Don't you think he's like lost a little bit of his energy? Like I think he'd be better at 57.
Who's
What do
at
you
50?
think, Joe?
Ethan
Is
Smith?
Joe here, or is he?
Who's there 57? Elijah Cleary?
Joe, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm here. I'm trying to. I got an email. I'm trying to.
Joe's over there making money moves.
Sammy
Marvin.
Sasso Cradles.
So
That's
Felters, have you checked out Joe's new betting site?
Of course I have. It's not a betting site yet. It's a fantasy site for now.
Fantasy site. Very
There
true.
you go.
For
This is
now.
recorded, you know.
Yeah, hashtag legalize it.
I mean, if I'm Feldman, you know, this is my plug to get Feldman. I thought if Feldman was going to go to the Navy. I was hoping he was going to go to Navy versus Ohio State.
Who's Feldman? What are you talking about?
Nick Feldman, he's like the number 1 220 recruit in the country. He's unbelievable. He just signed with or committed to Ohio State. That's when I got on the back. That's when I went back publicly bashing Tom Ryan. It's like, come on, Feldman, you're better than this.
Oh,
The good
man.
news is this: after this duel, Tom Ryan, I think he's gonna retire this suit he's wearing because after this beating, and someone ought to give him Doug Schwab's address to send it to.
Yeah, what'd you make of that team point?
Create like if you look at the Virginia Tech and NC State duel, after last week the Nebraska 25 pounder, just him flipping his headgear. Just think if that ref was one of these other idiots, and you could have warranted a team point deduction for that just as much as you could in the other ones.
Right.
Well, there should have been a team point in that North Carolina State one because per the rule, the coach can't have a hat on, and Pat Popolizio had a hat on. He had a suit, but he also had a hat. So I'm just saying, if they're stupid rule, but that's how dumb.
Can you
that
wear
really
tennis
is.
shoes? Because Tom Brain's always wearing the tennis shoes.
I don't think it says anything about the footwear. It just says
Closed
headwear. Yeah, right. No Crocs. It's the only wording.
Who's 57 pounder for Ohio State?
I think it's Cleary.
Who's going for the Hawks?
Pull it up. I wrote it
Won't be
down.
Caleb Young.
No, it'll be Axmer.
Oh,
Axmere.
yeah.
He's the 49 pounder on WrestleStat. So I mean, it's not over yet because we forget there's two backups going, right?
And Ohio State has a pretty good 84 pounder, right?
Yeah, Rocky Jordan.
Yeah, I mean that's not a, and it looked like Warner's head's gonna be like Rocky and Rocky 3 after all that headbutts he took in that last match.
Bad.
It was bad.
I wasn't. We don't have the sound on this thing, but did they have a? Did they say anything about that on the broadcast, or did he get some sort of warning at all?
I don't know. I usually mute it
Cradle
as well.
Cradle, baby. Cradle, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Run it. Run it.
You must be on the delay, bud.
Yeah,
do you have dial-up over there, or what's going on?
I'm on the wrong side of the tracks, fellas.
Let's do
we got
go find me, get you that high-speed internet.
I'm a little bit behind. If you see me react, that's what's going on.
What's the line for the game right now?
I got it at tonight. It's like I'll look it up. It was 3.5. I'm sure it's changed a little bit.
I'm trying to get in on the coin toss, but I couldn't find it. I went through 3 different betting sites.
Pat McAfee put a quick 35 grand on it, I think.
I saw that on Tails.
He's such a gangster.
Yeah, and he did that on he did that on FanDuel, but even on FanDuel, I couldn't find the coin toss. The coin toss is my favorite bet. That and the national anthem are my 2
Another
favorite
cradle.
bets.
Another cradle. Let's go. That's a fall. Let's go. Woo, baby. That'll do it.
Catch up.
That'll do it. How far ahead are you? How far ahead are you? You're far ahead, aren't you?
Yeah, I got this personal. You guys are on the tape delay on the thing. I got the live Skype, into the match.
Dang.
They got that tape delay for Shane Sparks here at the Big Ten Network.
We got to protect him when he goes over there. You think they're gonna have him be the new Matt Side reporter?
For who, Flo?
Yeah.
I thought at track for track, is he official at track? I think he just sells marketing, doesn't he, or ad space?
Joe would know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was ad sales at track. His play-by-play stuff was with Big Ten Network.
How much did they pay for to buy track from NBC? Do we know?
I mean, I didn't want to get into the multiple, like on the happy hour on Friday. Like, I've got the book that was, for Flo. I think it's probably going to be, you're probably looking north of 40 million, something like that, 30, 40 million.
That's crazy. I mean, fellas, you know how that stuff works. When they do that, you have to, is that like they have to buy cash, or can they get a loan for that stuff? How does that work?
Well, they either have a round of cash or they'll do another round of funding, or a raise for the private equity, right?
So they went around and got money from people, and that's how they bought it?
I don't know what they had on their books. They did a raise in 2019 for $70 million. I mean, they made some good moves. That gymnastics move was pretty good too that they made.
What'd they do?
They got all the USA gymnastics rights for streams and stuff, which coming on the cusp of the games, it's gonna be really bad to say. You probably sorry, Bogle, but as long as the couple of the trainers didn't come with it, I think they'll be okay.
Well, I don't know. Say it again.
No need.
I don't even know. I went over my head.
Hey, can you give me the critiques on Chris's haircut right here?
Chris's?
What do you think you do a little bit tighter fade like Hager has?
Yeah, we could hook you up.
It hasn't been faded in a while. We're about to have a kid, so I have to wait till right before the kid comes before I can get a fade. So I actually had to do this myself. I did this myself with just my beard trimmer.
Bogle, I'm telling you right now, if you had a barber shop freaking blog where you just were rolling a camera while you're cutting people's hair and conversations, it would be a hit.
Dude, that's been recommended to me a couple times. I'll probably do it. I think it'd be cool to do like LeBron does with the NBA, where they have everybody kind of sitting around. Maybe at like D1s, when there's a lot of people in one town at one place, it'd be cool.
Oh, they're bringing out a different guy against Cleary.
Who's against Cleary?
Rania.
Oh, that kid from Florida. This is Pat Lugo's cousin. Brett Rania, true freshman. I wonder if Kennedy is going to go at 74.
I hope so.
Who's Ohio
that?
State? Who Romero?
Yep.
Caleb Romero.
I would assume they put Kemmerer out there. He needs his matches.
He's
Yep.
got
Caleb
4-0,
Romero.
doesn't he?
I don't know. I mean, you're gonna have to test him sooner or later. His gas tank looks suspect. I mean, he's winning, but
He looks off. He's a guy. I don't know if he comes back for 7th year.
I mean, I was surprised he came back this year for the free year.
Joe, where'd you get those ankle socks?
You like these? Amazon, Walmart.
Attaboy. I mean, do you think William Hill? Do you think that why are they just betting on? Why is it always Iowa matches? That's the only team they're getting any action on, or what?
I don't know. Hey, you know how we were talking about on Happy Hour, we're talking about trying to figure out who's doing the lines. Do you think they're just using, not saying the WrestleStat guys are doing it, but do you think they're just using WrestleStat's dual comparison, because the lines are pretty dang similar?
Yeah, I think they have to have somebody like that. Of course, I mean, they have somebody
I
to
would.
research. Probably, I think a lot of these sites just dip their toes in, adding additional action. Probably getting the most action on Iowa. Iowa Penn State lines next week. I'm interested to see if and when it comes out. I know.
Oh, it'll come out.
Yeah, a problem.
I know you said that it's going to be all the question marks, but if you look at it on paper, man, and especially with now you've got Caleb Young out.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
you end up being right. You're always right.
Something that
No,
all
you're
of these
that's
sites are going to run
that's
into.
Two big holes in the. I mean, if you're Penn State, you got to think you get with 2 backups. I mean, I would imagine that maybe you see, and I'm just speculating here, but Caleb, Kemmer or Murin, or somewhere in that around in that weight class, right? You might see COVID implications hit again.
Was Caleb Young COVID? Did they say that?
Yeah, press release came out about it.
Dang. And it's crazy that they're like saying who's got it and stuff like that. Usually the other schools are not doing that, but Iowa's go ahead and putting it out there.
If I was, this probably gonna not be popular opinion either, but if I was Tom, I'd take all the guys that haven't got it yet and I put them all in the room, I'll catch it, and then be done now.
I mean, how many?
Because here's what's going to happen. Like, if Spencer Lee catches it or gets it before Big Tens or Nationals, here's what NCAA's going to say. Yep, well, you got an extra year, so, they've protected yourself up front. Wouldn't you rather have all your guys get it now?
Yes.
I would have preferred that happened right before the season started rather than in the middle of it.
No, I get that, but now it's like, Marinelli's wife Mariah. I'm assuming she may have. I mean, that's two of the 3 quota right there. If they both have it, that would actually shut the team down.
Yeah,
dude, can you imagine the Brands brothers in Iowa if they get? It's a big. Who made that meme last year about Kale? Was that you, Zach?
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine this if all of a sudden they get shut down before some big conspiracy theory? Like Iowa fans would go bonkers, dude.
Oh, it'd be. Yeah, I mean, everybody can come back next year, but
no, that's what NCAA has done. Those is like, okay, yeah, but you think Kale's just sitting on the corner, just smiling?
Yeah, he's going through the COVID stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if Kale did it at the beginning of the year.
Dude, it could happen. I mean, realistically.
Wait, Iowa has a different heavyweight warming up right now in the background. That was not Cassiope. If you look when it goes to the corner again, it's a different heavyweight warming up.
Yeah, but is there a second mat with extra matches
is
going
Aaron
on?
Costello?
He kind of looked like Sam Stoll, but all fat guys kind of look like Sam Stoll to me.
If it was Costello, they might be putting him in because he's the last person to take down Tristan Wirfs. Super Bowl Sunday, Wirfs protected Tom Brady. Give him the nod.
Is Costello still around?
Have you seen that where Wirfs 6 foot taller than him?
No.
I saw it.
Oh yeah, that's great.
2-1 here. I'm at 45 seconds. Yeah, I think that was for an extra match.
Oh, they do have another mat over there. Okay, I see it.
Cleary with takedown, 3-2.
Cleary's favored in this match. I mean, you guys have to win this match to cover.
Yeah. But I mean that pin though for Sasso, I didn't have Sasso winning by pin, so that's
You
good.
didn't have Ironman winning by pin though either, right?
No, I did not have that either.
So that's kind of a
Kind of a wash.
That was the wash.
Zach had Ekamendi on his fantasy team.
Yep.
So
Is that how you guys say it? You'd say Ekamendia or Echemendia?
I say Echemendia.
I say Ekamendi. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
I mean, I could be wrong too. I say Etch, so I have no idea.
I mean, Echemendia hasn't beat anybody in America since junior nationals when, Willie, remember Willie interviewed him and kind of asked him about his age? He went on a burner against Askren. I think that's I thought he'd wake up and have the deletes, but yesterday he said
I think he tried to take it back a little bit.
He goes, if so and so happens, I'll take back all the bad things I said about Askren.
Yeah, I think he felt a little maybe like he shouldn't have done that. I don't know.
How many Bud Lights was he in when he was tweeting that?
He what?
I said, how many Bud Lights was he in when he started tweeting about that?
He only goes Studweisers.
I think he was into all of them, and then he didn't tweet. He didn't tweet. I don't want to get it wrong, but I don't think he tweeted during the NC State Virginia Tech duel. So I think he probably.
No, he's in a coma, probably.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking the whole time. Like, I almost tweeted that. Poor Willie doesn't get to see this.
What about, I thought the ref there was, or the one of the announcers was Cherto. I was wrong, but then I just stayed with it. Like you can retract. I just stayed right with it.
I saw that tweet. Did that guy respond at all?
Ken Cherto, no. I thought for sure it was Cherto when he went crazy about the 25-pounder Livonia winning because maybe like Livonia was at one of his camps when he was like 7, so he's like trying to ride that wave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think?
What'd you make of that?
Spencer Lee thing?
What'd you make of Camacho and Latona?
I mean, you still think Camacho can go with Spencer Lee?
What I said was I got to run it back, but I think what I said something along the lines of like I think he stands best chance to not get bonus.
You better take that back too.
Yeah, I did admit defeat a little bit on that one. I mean, he looked really good against Julian Tagg, but I don't know what that says about Julian Tagg.
I mean, maybe I don't know. I just thought he wrestled tight, like when he beat Jack Mueller last year in the ACC finals. I mean, he just let it rip. It was like he tried to manage the match too much, where he knew the dual meet was on the line. You know what I mean?
Do you think Latona knew that the criteria he needed those back points at the end?
No, I mean Camacho kind of put himself into that.
Yeah, I didn't think so either.
Hey, well, hopefully you're not going to the match. Okay, you need this many back points, this many match points. It's always crazy how the first criteria, like total match points, almost always is like tied or close. It's crazy.
Is that what it was? 5 and 5, and then is the next one bonus points?
The heavyweight actually saved the deal with. I thought he got like murdered. I mean, I thought he was going to roll over. His elbow was going to be dislocated.
Oh yeah.
Like that's where I thought it was Ken Cherto. He goes, now the injured athlete has a injury time of 3 minutes on the clock, which starts now, and if he can't continue, I'm thinking like this is the worst time to talk about injury time. The kid's sitting there just bellowing out.
I will say that Chertow is probably my second least favorite announcer in the history of wrestling announcing. The student announcer for anything Michigan State is absolutely abysmal, but Chertow is. I can't hear him. You put him and Wade Chalice in a room, and I would just let them get locked up and run away.
At least the Michigan State kid's still in training.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's got a lot to learn.
Maybe he went to Cheritow's camp.
Ken Chertow has probably the biggest email list in all of wrestling.
Doesn't Iowa have a guy that that wrestled for Iowa that's now their announcer? Is it Burek?
Nathan Burek,
Was he he was announcing a little bit, or who was it?
Mark Ironside,
Oh, they got him, but there was another. No, graduated recently. Oh well, I can't remember.
maybe Burek. Yeah, he did.
I think you muted yourself, fellers.
Yeah.
It is Burek.
Burek.
He's got a win against Kyle Snyder, doesn't he?
You're right. Kyle Snyder. You think he's got a chance against Jaden? Or are you writing him off too?
No. I'll take Snyder all day. Tell me the odds. Tell me the bet. Let's do it. I got
Oh
Superman
yeah, I
all
like
day.
how you got. See that? Got up in the chair a little bit. Did one of these.
Yeah.
I like a 2 out of 3 with Jaden. It's an investment.
Yeah, I like Jaden. I think Jaden is one of my favorite wrestlers on the planet, but no, I'm taking Captain America all day.
How's Captain America going to take down Jaden Cox? That's always the question.
He
I
won't.
mean, the problem is you don't have to take him down to beat him.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
All right, we
Jaden got
got
more points scored on him in the first flow card than he did all worlds last year.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm.
Yeah, they. I can see that. I can see maybe the first match getting opened up, and seeing some stuff fly. But by the time they get to either match 2 or match 3, I bet you Snyder wins on a push out.
I think Jaden take him down twice.
You think so?
Yeah.
I watched that.
I mean-
I watched him work out before. Like it's. I mean, if you're Kyle in Penn State, that's all you're getting ready for in game planning, and like all your training's just around beat Jaden right now.
Yep.
So
Who's like the third guy in that scenario?
Zilmer?
Yeah.
Zilmer took him down. Zilmer took Jaden down.
Chael thinks Zilmer's a lot better than people say.
Hey, you beat me to it. Chael. Hey, Zilmer, yeah.
Oh,
He's
you-
good,
you
man.
think-
Zilmer too. Dude,
Beat
that
me to
guy's
it.
frame. Look at someone like that. It's like, bro, he could keep lifting up and just be like a monster. That guy.
You know who else is huge? When I was down at Arkansas, Heflin is a freaking monster.
Yeah, he's big.
Kudos to Pat Downey for getting into it with him, because that guy's huge. I wouldn't cross that guy ever. But he beat him, I guess.
Downey's
and-
huge.
That was-
Have you ever seen Downey? Have you ever stood next to Downey? It's crazy that he was making like 84 when he was.
I've never stood that close to him.
Hands like this. Shake his hand. He's got hands the size of like baseball gloves.
What do you think
Hey,
happens with
dude.
that?
I wonder if Downey's getting any commission on this Captain's Cup coming up that Flo's doing.
Why do you say that? Because
He's the one that you brought this up, Bogle, the first time on Happy Hour. You're like, lost in all this is if Downey doesn't open his mouth, what happens here?
yeah, and he tweeted about it like 2 days, like a day later, or 2 days later. Maybe think it so the message somehow got to him. But what I was saying is like he was the first one to really out what some of these guys were getting paid. Like he snitched on everybody's pay, and after that it was like, oh, okay, well now we know what some of these guys are getting paid.
But that was too late. He started the whole conversation by saying, essentially, Greco and women's wrestling is boring and nobody would ever want to watch it. Why would you guys even care about that? And he goes off. Then he had to talk with the Wrestle Like a Girl people, and he was like, actually, well, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Girls wrestling is good and this and that. But in all honesty, does Flo go so hard after Willie if PD3 doesn't open his mouth like that, because they don't lose all those subscribers? I mean, they lost a ton of subscribers due to the women's wrestling issues that they had, right?
Stop. How many is a ton?
I bet you they lost a good
I'm
chunk
like
of people
this.
due to
I'm
that.
not saying anything.
They said it. They said it in the trial, didn't they? Didn't they say how many they lost? But I wasn't even talking about the women's stuff. I'm just talking about what the men were getting paid. Like he said, what was it, 50,000? Didn't they give Dig 50,000 for that match? He was like, Dake's getting 50, he's getting 50, I'm
20.
getting 10, 5, and then the women are getting 1,000. Like, he outed that, and I don't think before it has ever publicly stated what they were getting paid. And then whenever the Burrows, David Taylor stuff came about, like, it was announced. Well, I don't know who announced it, but it got announced, like, you know, who was getting paid.
Here's the thing, though. If the reality of it is if all the women's or all these guys individually, right, if they were put on a card and you only got paid on what you drove for either a retention person that watched or actually new subscriber, a lot of these guys' egos would be like completely smashed because what they think they drive and what they actually drive is not realistic.
You think they're paying too much?
There's no question that Dake and David Taylor bring in more viewers than
no, stop. Dake's brand for what he is, he's not that big.
What I'm going to say is I'm going to finish this. There's no question that Dake and David Taylor bring in more viewers than Helen Maroulis does. That being said, Helen Maroulis is a far better draw for somebody like me because I truly enjoy watching high-level women's wrestling, right? So there's got to be somewhere in between versus – oh, okay. There's got to be something in between that isn't 1/10 of what they're being paid and isn't being paid exactly this, what they're, isn't being paid what they're worth and isn't being paid, overpaying either, right? There's a middle ground there.
Especially if you're USA Wrestling, and I know I'm a big brand guy and like taking trends, but with the biggest surge in membership for USA Wrestling being in actually girls and women's memberships, it's exponentially growing quicker than anything, and the sum is actually large contribution to the total now. It's like, where does even USA Wrestling jump into saying, okay, partnering with the Flow or something like the Drive, because ultimately they're getting the membership at the end of this, right? It's like you can't expand outside where you are today unless you have leadership positions in the sport like USA Wrestling that gets along with it. That's always my bitch about folk style is that you have 50 different organizations that have, like, especially in youth, there's 30 different rule sets, 30 different freaking weights. I'm a 12E champ, whatever. It's like, we need some leadership across the sport that takes big initiatives like women's wrestling and drives it, not having media outlets that are going to get shunned because they don't do certain things. You know what I mean? Like, what position is USA Wrestling taking with women's wrestling? None. Or Greco. Like, when they did that membership drive video, did you see Matt Lindland on there? Greco was the only style that wasn't represented. Remember they did that membership drive thing with Bill Zadek in that video and around COVID? It was like around February or March.
I don't remember that.
Joe? Yeah, no, I remember what you're talking about.
So how come there's no Greco cards yet for Flow?
Yeah, Greco's been the one out of all this that's kind of got swept under the rug.
In terms of monetizing this stuff, I don't think there's anybody on planet Earth who can, if we wrote a sheet of 10 wrestlers, could go and say accurately, this person is worth this, this person is worth this, this person is worth this, right? There are no agents mediating. There's no one, like, nobody really knows any of these numbers. And kind of like Feller said, I think a lot of these guys, if they did like their own Patreon channel or Rockfin channel and just charge upfront subs for one individual match, right? When it's a card and it's 10 people, you still don't really learn anything because it's like, okay, we got this big chunk of subscribers. Who did they come to watch? You don't really know, right? They watched the whole thing. So I think, something that also needs to be factored in is like viewership, right? Not just like upfront people who want to come and pay to watch it. It's people who are paying, but people who want to watch it, right? Like there's value in however many thousands of people that want to watch it. But if they're only going to be compensated by how many people that they're going to actually bring in, I can't figure out. I don't know what it is. If I was going to go and have Jordan Burroughs and Kyle Dake wrestle tomorrow, I would have no idea.
Yeah, I hope so. Are you that far ahead? Did another match already happen?
They're gonna cover.
I'm gonna go back to live just so I can be where he is.
Yeah, go for it.
So Joe, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think there's anything, but I do believe that there's no reason that you can say one guy is worth 50,000 and another world champion is worth 5,000, right? There's a gap there. So they're trying to get away. They're trying to do some gamesmanship, and getting it out in the open is going to help people figure out what their worth is, right? Because
Yeah, and man, I was glad to see Adeline and Tamara wrestle that match. Just see what it did, right? Have some data on it and see what it did. I think if they wrestled the match and it overperformed, then the next time they get paid a lot more money, right? Or, I think anyone's going to be like, oh, we're going to pay you less next time if you did 3 times what we thought it would do.
None of these guys have agents.
Some of them do, but I mean, it's not so another thing too is like there's not enough long tail data like the NFL or the NBA to compare against other people, and it's kind of like this checkers game where this guy got paid this to do one thing a long time ago.
Really, I think a lot of your senior level athletes' brands and what they're worth is really what college are they tied to with, and how big is that fan base?
Yep.
I mean.
Well, I don't know. Well, if you think, okay, then why did Iowa get snubbed from that one card? That's the biggest fan base. Isn't when you say Iowa's fan base bigger than everybody else's?
No, I'm talking about like these individual athletes, like Tony Ramos' brand at the.
You got paused there, but I think you were going to say that Tony Ramos' brand took a hit when he left Iowa because he lost the Iowa fan base.
It says on my end that he muted himself. So, fellas, if you can hear us, unmute yourself.
And Zach, you're talking about the outlier. He's talking about the reality is that if you go to a program like Penn State, Ohio State, Iowa, you're going to have a bigger fan base built in by default than you are if you go anywhere else. I mean, maybe Rutgers or Cornell, but even then, still not the same size.
I would like to know how
it's the same. You see it in all sports. It's like when Eli Manning got drafted by the Chargers and he was making like the sourpuss face holding up the Chargers jersey because he was smart. He says, I want to be in the New York market, right? I want that type of, but makes sense with wrestling too, right? Like if I was a fringe guy who would be like a stud at like a mid-tier school or could start ever for Iowa, Penn State, I go to Iowa, Penn State, That's what you want to do.
Yeah, the only outlier to that would be like a Ben Askren who became a biggest star from a program that didn't have it yet. But yeah, on the most part, I think you nailed it. Built-in fan bases are going to drive dollars.
Yeah, and what happened with Ben is Missouri had so much malleability with him that he could kind of like mold what he wanted to be and what he wanted the brand of the program and himself and so that's a difference, right? Where you go to a place like Missouri, you got a lot of freedom. You can kind of create. You go somewhere that's established, then you kind of at least a little bit got to fit in that box. That's
Feller's just talking all that stuff about his internet, and then he's getting roasted for the internet. He said he got disconnected. I sent him another link.
Man's trying to talk D1 wrestling when he got NCWA Wi-Fi.
I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about the bet. Don't you?
Now, I do now. Ethan Smith is going to win, and that should do it for us.
DeSanto most fantasy points so far. What else is new?
Did you see that somebody posted like a stat of how many points he scored compared to like, I can't remember if it was like a basketball team or a football team, but it was crazy.
In the third period?
Just total, I think. Like he's putting up 20 points a game or whatever compared to like all these other like NBA players or something. I don't know. 0-0 here. I'm at 241. Double. Nice little double leg.
Oh. There we go.
I'm froze, so.
Joe, what bucket did you have Ethan Smith in? Was he in the major?
What are you talking about?
I was saying is what
fantasy?
bucket did Joe have? Yeah, for his fantasy.
Joe, can you?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
we can hear you now.
My Bluetooth headphones died. Give me a second. Let me throw these on the charger.
4 backs, 6-0.
Oh, here he goes again. $12-0. We're looking for a tech fall now.
Man, I'm trying to get the whole stream's falling apart here. Hold on a second. All right, I'm back. Yep, 12-1 I got.
Oh, Smith's going clinic mode right now.
Good, we love it.
Oh, we got to get that Buccaneers helmet off the screen.
Yeah, we're getting some hate for it in the chat, I think, unless he's talking about something else. But I don't think I've shouted out Batman Apparel yet this stream. Might as well do it while this match is going on. Use promo code 10% off for all Batman products. Promo code Stalemates. And then Barbarian Apparel, the best apparel in the game right now. I'm wearing an NJRTC shirt underneath here. Can't see it. Check it out. Barbarian Apparel, Josh or Barbarian will take care of you. Follow them on all the social medias. 16-3 though. So if you want to pay attention to the gambling that's going on here, first of all, Purdue covered 37.5, and now we got to get Ohio State. I got in at 28.5. It started at 30.5 or 30. It went down a little bit because I was cautious, so I didn't get in at 30, but I got in at 28.5. So I feel all right. 17-9 right now. What's that? 8 points, and we're halfway through the duel. So.
But he's up 16-3 with riding time at a minute and a half. He's up 18-3. I mean, we're going to get a technical fall here. I mean, Ethan Smith put up 16 points with a minute and a half of riding time in the first period.
Yes. I feel so.
Tech fall.
Boom. Let's go, baby.
Where do you live, Joe?
I'm out in Austin. How about you? Where are you at?
I'm in Colorado. I was out in Austin for my sister's wedding not too long ago. Actually, during that one of the flow cards out there. It's kind of fun. Didn't get to go and see it, but I met up with a coach that I'm buddies with who was in town for it. That's a fun city.
I love Austin. Austin's cool. I grew up in Jersey, right? And I lived in Tampa for a couple of years before I moved out here, but I like it out here. What's it, like 70 degrees right now?
I went down. Oh, yeah, it's probably great. I went down to that street where they have all the food trucks, like 50 food trucks. They're all restaurants and like food trucks all lined up in the same area. And they had some good food up there.
Probably. Yeah, it's good
All
spot.
right, we got Kemmerer and Romero. Kemmerer did come out.
Luis says we covering boys on to Purdue, Ohio. So you got 74, 84, 97 in heavyweight. 6 times 4 is 24. That's 41 minus 14. That's 27. So that's a cover already.
Yeah, so we've already covered.
Woo! One more, baby. One more. That's the next one is the one that I'm probably most worried about, if we're being honest here, which is 5.5 for Ohio State. But I feel all right. I feel like Ohio State's wrestling pretty good here. They didn't even have Malik Heinzelman. Heinzelman and Schroeder is going to be a good one.
Man, I saw Spencer Lee pin Heinzelman with the most vicious tilt at Midlands once. I was sitting right next to the mat. I was like this.
Yeah,
Joe,
he is a vicious tilting.
Joe, whenever you worked for Flow, you actually got to go to all the events and stuff?
Oh, yeah. I got to go to some cool places, man. I was in Kazakhstan for the World, Budapest for the World one year. Italy twice. I went to Sardinia. I got a funny story for you. So I was in Sardinia with Willie, and the event at Sardinia is an island off the coast of Italy. We're going and we're eating somewhere after the event, and Willie sloshed on red wine, right? And he goes, we're ordering, and this isn't like Rome where they speak English, so they don't, So Willie goes, "You have any veal?" And the guy was like, what you say? He doesn't know what he's saying, right? Willie's like, veal. The guy goes, "Oh, cavallo." And right, don't speak Italian, but cavallo means horse, right? So Willie's slugging this red wine. He's not even paying attention. He's like, yeah, cavallo. Yeah, give him the veal, the cavallo. This guy comes, and I say, I know what they're saying. And I let them come and bring out a plate of horse and watch Willie eat the entire thing. And if he watches it, he'll probably laugh through it now. He's like, "Oh, this is pretty good." He's eating the whole thing.
And what did he originally ask for?
Veal.
Veal.
Which is what?
Deer.
Deer.
Right? Is it veal deer? Oh,
baby cow.
Yeah. That's what it is.
I didn't know that was legal to eat horse.
No, they do. I went on vacation to Iceland. They eat horse there too. Not very good. I tried a little bite. I was like, "Yeah, I'll take a little piece of that." He's like, "This is some weird tasting veal, man." I'm like, "Yeah, I bet it is."
That's good.
0-0.
For anyone who's watching, I was gonna say, for anyone who made picks on Fantasy Fight League, we'll update the points at the end of the day. So if you go, you check the leaderboard by the end of the night, everything will be updated.
Do you have to do that manually?
Yeah. So an issue with wrestling so we talk about fantasy and like your buddy to keep the sports book. DraftKings and FanDuel will license a data API where they can pipe in that data. So like when they do an NFL game, they pay like a license fee to ESPN or to whoever keeps the data, and it populates automatically. For wrestling, there's no one sole data API source. So to be able to import this information, you got to do it manually. There's nowhere that maybe WrestleStat might be able to pipe in some of the data, but yeah, it's got to be done manually, which is fine. I mean, you score it the same way you score like a dual meet, right? So as we branch out, like if anyone who's watching and wants to help, we just need matches scored. It's really easy.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how it turns out.
It's probably easier because you don't actually have to put in the actual score completely. You just need to put the major decision tech pin, right?
Yeah, and what's cool is we have a formula that we patented that's the process to calculate the points. So it's basically just like data fields by dominance, right? It has field 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all worth a different amount of points. So we can watch lacrosse and be like, a goal is worth the most, and assist is worth the second most. Whatever is worth the third most, right? So that's how we're able to apply that same type of process to football, UFC, and the wrestling that we have now. Like Jason Bryan is the ultimate data. So if Jason wants to input all the data for all of these things, hit me up.
How did Kemmerer just score another point?
Good question.
Somebody in the chat, if you can help us out there. Yeah, your mom just said deer is venison. That's what I thought it was too.
Yeah.
So that's why I was off. The veal and the venison just floppy.
Veal is lamb?
Nah, veal, man, you guys must be from the Midwest. I don't know what veal is. My paisans back in New Jersey are rolling over right now. Veal.
What is
veal parm?
Veal is baby cow?
Yeah.
I just eat bison a lot.
We eat beef out here and pork.
Yeah, we're doing bison sliders for the Super Bowl.
Are you going to Joe Rogan's house?
He doesn't eat bread.
Yeah, you're right.
Nah, it's funny. I'm the other end of Joe Rogan. I'm vegan, right? So I don't eat meat at all.
You're vegan?
Yeah.
How long have you been a vegan?
I don't want to do like that. Maybe 6 months.
That's respectable.
Awesome.
Be that person that pushes on everyone, but like I feel way. I used to shoot. I wrestled heavyweight. I used to be like 300 pounds once upon a time. Feel way better. Like I don't know.
What'd you wrestle in
wife,
college?
I didn't wrestle. I committed to wrestle at Bloomsburg. I never wrestled. I wrestled when I was in high school at Bergen. I was wrestling at like 275. Wrestled heavyweight.
Oh, yeah, you're bigger. My wife's a pescatarian, so I cook vegetarian more often than not. But when I go out, I order steak or bison and meat.
Is pescatarian just seafood?
Yeah, she'll eat seafood, but even then, she's pretty picky on the seafood she'll eat. So
Crawfish pies.
yeah, she basically has to hate the way they look. Like if it's an ugly fish, then she can eat it.
2-1 here. I'm kind of surprised by this.
Yeah, but one of those points I have no idea where it came from. The other one I know was there's a stalling call. It's 3-1 now.
They said headgear grab by Ohio State.
Okay.
Man, it was good, man. This was from WrestleStat ranking. This is 1 versus 5. Probably the closest match we got, except for 149. Murin and Sasso. Cassiope and Orndorff is good. Orndorff is a good one too.
Yeah, I think there. I think Cassiope's got too much horsepower for Orndorff, unfortunately. He's yeah,
But
I think Cassiope's beating everybody that doesn't go to Minnesota or Michigan.
Yeah, Cassiope is a good wrestler. You know, he's a big guy. He's strong. He's a good wrestler.
All right. Well, I think that I mean, it was already done, right?
Yeah, it's already locked up. So now it's all about just good matches.
So
and hearing more about fantasy.
the next one is we're not live streaming for the next one. It's on BTN Plus, which kind of sucks. Do you guys have BTN Plus? How much does that cost?
Your Fox Sports app.
I have no idea.
I think I paid $14 a month for it for 2 months.
And okay, so they do month-to-month contract.
Yeah, that was why one good thing when Flo took over that BTN account, it saved me that extra. I mean, it was 3 months at that point, so it saved me $45 a year because I was already paying for my Flo. When they lost that, obviously I had to go back to getting that.
Yeah, that sucked. I mean, it was awesome for everybody it was awesome for wrestling fans that it was on Flow, but I never understood why Big Ten Network wanted to do that because they had their own streaming thing before that. Just kind of seemed like they were giving it to them, but I don't know. You know, I don't know.
Joe, without getting in trouble, can you talk about what their thought about actually using Flow was?
So they signed that before I started there, and I wasn't a part of any of that, negotiating that deal. But from like an outside perspective looking at it, if I'm Big Ten, I'm like, okay, I want like some context and some marketing and some like clout behind my events, right? Which is why, I mean, they ultimately pulled out of the deal. But like if I'm Big Ten, I'm like, okay, I want like a good marketing partner who can contextualize my events and, really activate this kind of small market. So like, and honestly, if what do I know, right? I'm just speculating as a fan. I would think that Flow never had the ones that were on Big Ten Network. I would think those little matches that were showing up, they're probably going to hurt. They're not going to do as well as they did on, because you got to have a different streaming service. You got to use the Fox Sports app now. It's a different interface, and then you can watch some on Fox Sports, and you can watch some on TV, and then you got to watch some. It's like.
You got to wait till midnight East Coast. Yeah, some of the ones on BTN Plus, if you don't have BTN but you have BTN Plus, you have to wait till midnight East Coast to watch them. So I've had before I got BTN, I used to have to wait till 10 o'clock out here so that I could actually start watching some of the duels that happen throughout the day, which means I can't be on Twitter for like 3 hours prior, right? Because I don't want to see what happens.
Yeah, that
All
sucks.
right.
I think there should be a no spoilers rule on the TL, but that's not even possible. So I think WrestleStat might have had Rocky Jordan beating Nelson Brands.
Yeah, WrestleStat had him
I have
ranked like
Jordan
17
19,
and 8.
Brands 12.
What'd you have, Joe?
I had WrestleStat ranking Jordan 19, Brands 12.
Okay, so they would have had Brands.
So WrestleStat has Rocky Jordan beating Brands 6-5.
Well, if you think about it, Brands, I mean, Rocky Jordan's probably statistically probably better on his feet, but if he gets on the mat, I mean, Brands is going to have an advantage. But I've never seen him really turn anyone, so.
Who was that? Who he pinned last year and ran through the crowd and was doing like the Saquon through the crowd? That was so badass.
I think that
missed
was
it.
I don't remember who it was.
Oh, I think you were talking about. I don't think it was a pin, but when he beat Colbert, I think is the match you're talking about.
Yeah, it was like his first match that he wrestled.
Yep, it was Colbert. I was there. That just sucked bad. Were you at that duel?
Nah,
Joe?
I wasn't at that one. I didn't go to the smaller ones. I just go to like NCAA Worlds, Big Ten, stuff like that.
So it says, real quick in the thing, they said $14.99 a month for one team, or like $10 a month for all the teams, and like $10 a month for one team only. No, there you go.
It's hard for a wrestling fan, man. It's a hard time to be a wrestling fan.
Pay a lot of money in streaming services for sure.
But I remember the old days though, when a lot of them weren't even freaking. When you had to do the when they had the live blogs and somebody just had to type into a chat, the scores.
Yeah, it was funny, man. When I first started Garden State Wrestling, I remember I was like a 20-year-old college dropout, and I went to the New Jersey All-Star match, which was like a huge deal. Dude, Scotty Winston and Frank Molinaro was like epic, right? So I remember I went and I streamed the New Jersey All-Star match on my phone like this through Ustream back in the day. And I remember, like, for me, like, kind of competitive, right? They were all, like, the old school, like, Big J guys doing their live blogs on Twitter. That's something new. And I remember thinking, I was like, man, people want to watch the matches. Like, I would work at the newspaper, and they'd be like, your lead and this and that. It's like, nobody cares. They want to watch the match. They want to read, like, your fancy story about what happened or how good your quotes are. Like, first thing is watch a match. Then after that stuff can come.
Oh. Brands up 3-0.
JP Pearson says Jagger's wearing a team hoodie in solidarity with Schwab.
Well, that's what I said. He has a Hawkeye Wrestling Club's hood. He has a Hawkeye Wrestling Club hoodie on. It's not even a team sweatshirt. I think we're gonna have to deduct Iowa a team point.
Dude, you know how upset I would be if like the bet lost. Not this one, but like if you had money on it and then it would like that was a team point. If you lost, you know how brutal that would be. But I wonder, you said that you and I got their money back, or they got their point back. I wonder if you would get your money back.
Yeah, I have no idea. Joe, I don't know if you heard that, but yeah, Schwab said that they gave him the team point back.
So both these bets now have cashed out pretty early.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't. I didn't think the lines were all that great, but it's always still a worry, right? I mean, Iowa was just so good, but they cashed out. Think about it. How many backups wrestled for Iowa? Because I mean, you don't have Young and you don't have Marinelli, and how many of them hit if those don't happen?
Possibly. I mean, and then also the Iowa Ohio State one, Heinzelman and Decatur not wrestling.
But I think that difference was a point. You got a pin and a tech, and I think you were going to get a. I think you were getting a pin and a major or a pin and a tech anyways. So I don't really know that you really changed too much.
I was worried after those two things though, and then the pin from Ironman, because then part of me is thinking like, well, maybe Tom Ryan just, suckers everybody and just throws every backup out there just to make people mad. Like I could totally, like I was totally kind of thinking that was going to happen.
I wanted to see Decatur and DeSanto again.
I mean, the next duel is going to be pretty competitive between the last duel on these three.
Oh yeah, that's competitive wise. It's going to be the best duel of the day. Matches. I mean, a lot of these Iowa kids matching up with individual wrestlers here was more fun. I'll probably be watching that on my drive down to down south, and we're gonna watch the Super Bowl at a friend's house who moved to an area just outside of Colorado Springs.
Oh, nice. The Super Bowl always starts so early. I always forget. It starts at like 5, doesn't it?
Yeah, 3:30 for us.
Are they doing a halftime show? Do you know?
Yeah, they said who it is. Maybe it's a weekend. Let me look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's who they
Who's
got.
doing the Super Bowl halftime?
I heard somewhere that a lot of the main sponsors weren't doing it this year because they didn't want to like something with being PC, or they didn't want to get in trouble, or I don't know.
The weekend.
The weekend, was that facial thing real that he did?
No, that was all for that video. That looked crazy though.
Yeah, that was scary.
Yeah, that was one of the trending on Twitter. And I'm like, what the fuck happened to his face?
Why did he do that? Just to promote the video?
Yep.
Nelson Brands got it out to win 3-0. He does not look happy right now, does he?
No, he doesn't look happy. He looks like he's hurting almost. Not hurt, but hurting.
I mean, how do you rank this? How do you rank him? He loses to Max Lyon, beats Rocky Jordan. I mean,
And beats Taylor Vins.
yeah, beats Taylor Vins, loses to who's the one he lost to last week?
Bronigal or whatever.
Bronigal. Yeah, it's like
Chase Singletary, wasn't he?
Oh, go ahead.
What's that? No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, did these guys wrestle in high school?
That's not a question for me, I don't think. I don't know where either of these guys are from.
I just feel like Singletary and Warner kind of grew up around the same weights and around the same era.
Let me see what I wonder what if old Ferrari's wrestled yet. I'm gonna look that up real quick. Oh, they're at 165. Did you guys get to watch or listen to? Oh, upper body. Nope. Did you guys get through Wrestling Changed My Life yet with The Smiths?
No, I haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Dude, it was awesome. I think that's I think that's wrestling's version of the Michael Jordan documentary, but in podcast format.
It's a 2-part, right?
It's 7, I think, 7 episodes, but they're like 40 minutes each. Like they go by super fast. He did a really good job with them.
Yeah, I really only listen to a lot of like normal podcasts when I'm driving. Most of everything else I do is either video, so like your stuff or like Hager's Happy Hour, stuff like that. Joe Rogan, So next week I have to go down to my factory a couple of times, so I'll probably get in a couple of episodes, one down, one back, kind of that kind of situation. So it'll probably take me 3 or 4 weeks to get them all done, but I'm excited. I've heard they're good.
It's definitely worth it. Luis, I just put up the Twitter. I don't actually have like a live stream of it. Somebody said it's on Fox Sports Oklahoma.
On ESPN.
Is it on ESPN Plus?
Yeah, go to fantasyfightleague.com and click the little video button and take you right there.
Oh, shout out to the plug. You hear that, Luis? I want to pull it up, but at the same time, I don't want to slow down my stream. But for the sake of Fantasy Fight League, I want to try it out real quick.
It's telling me I'm pulling it up. It says 7 o'clock. Maybe that's a replay when they're playing. Why would they replay it on ESPN Plus? I got turned around. I thought it was 7 o'clock. I had to take this email down.
I just went to the Twitter.
I will say the ESPN's Watch app on your phone is not worth its.
No,
Dude, they don't. I think they probably put the wrong start time here, and they're not pulling the feed because it should be. It should be here on ESPN through this link.
That happened to me with the NC State one. I had to pull it up on my phone, but the app on my Apple TV said it didn't start till like way later, and so I couldn't watch it.
Yeah, because what they probably do is they pull like these RTMP feeds, right? So if you set the game to go at 7 o'clock and it's pulling the feed, they have so much stuff coming through that it's like.
Yeah, the only thing live right now is SIU, Edwardsville, and Mizzou.
They have a better wrestling offering than people give them credit for when the Ivy League is up and running, especially.
I'm sorry, who does?
ESPN.
I mean, I love what they do with the NCAA tournament. I think this year not having the commentators on each mat is going to be an issue, but for the most part, they put together a really good product for the home user to watch every mat. I can pull up all 8 mats. It's not like Flow where the most I can get is 4, or with Track where I have to go to 1 mat at a time. So I think ESPN does a fantastic job when they put their time into it. The problem is when they put their time into it, right?
Yeah, they don't care. What's it for them? That's like they won't even know the Oklahoma State time is messed up. They'll never hear about that, and they won't care.
Or that
it's like an intern that messed up, and then they're like,
or they had the wrong logo up for Oklahoma and Oklahoma State.
They got that one fixed. But yeah.
Did they?
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I saw it and I thought it was weird, and I just kind of moved on. And then I saw all the tweets about it, and I was like, oh, that's what looked weird about it. Like, it didn't even click in my brain. I was just like.
Seth Duckworth put up a good tweet today. He's not followed by the Oklahoma State account, but he's followed by the Oklahoma account, which is kind of funny. If you think anybody deserved the follow back, it would be him, huh?
Yeah. He's a good Twitter follow for anybody that wants a fun Twitter follow.
No, he's good, man. He's really good. He's the best, I think, in terms of like covering one team.
Yeah.
He tweeted that he got lost 20 followers because he covered an Oklahoma match. That's insane.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by it. I mean, think of how many Twitter followers you lost because you talked about fresh squeezed juice.
You talking about dad juice?
Yeah.
I actually gained a lot.
I meant like more like the juice that you compared it to.
What do you mean?
You said it was our modern day fresh squeezed OJ.
Oh yeah. No, I gained a lot from that. That was one of our biggest bumps that we've had. I mean, I'm sure I lost some, but I definitely came out ahead on that one.
Joe, I don't know if you're familiar, but when Dayton's suspension came out, he compared it to the glove don't fit argument. Like, oh, I don't know where that water bottle came from. I just like it was around and I took a sip of it.
But they both worked. Like it was a I mean, I don't want to go over this again, but it was a compliment, kind of in a backwards way. It was a really clever way of complimenting him because I was like, it's an insane thing, but it worked. Like Dayton Fix only got suspended a year compared to what he could have got suspended. Speaking of, is he back yet? You know, when's he? That's got to be coming up.
10th, the 10th, I think.
Here's another guy that's Warner's another guy that's not wearing team colorways here. With the Nike Volt.
Yep. I drafted a Fix for my 125 pounder, and unfortunately, he's at 33. So now I have RBY and Fix, and I got to figure out what to do.
I gotta go into ours and clean up my lineup. I think a little bit.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't hurt. But 2 years ago, I lost that league to one of the guys. I think Brian Flans ended up winning. I lost by 1.5 or by a point. And I had Suriano and Fix on my lineup, and I had to make the decision on who to start. And I started Fix, and that headgear pull cost me the title for those.
Dang.
Rucker, stand up.
Yeah.
Cody Arnold wants to know how my
Suriano's
wrestling
been the
shoe
man for a
game.
minute.
You Jersey
What'd you say?
people love him. I don't.
Yeah,
I mean, so go ahead, Joe.
I got a Suriano story for you. So I used to train at Apex up in New Jersey. So my brother was maybe the same age as Suriano, maybe a little bit older. And Damian Logan is showing a move at Apex. And I'm in college. I'm back working out with my brother. And there's like this little Damian's showing a move. Everyone's like laying around chilling. And there's this little kid in the background banging out pull-ups while he's showing technique. And I was like, what is going on with this? And my brother told me he was like, that kid, he was like, he's going to be a 4-time state champ. And at this time, Mike Gray had been the only 4-time state champ in New Jersey. So I was like, yeah, okay, whatever you say, But he was in like 6th or 7th grade then. And even then, like, my brother was a good wrestler. He was a 4-year All-American. And he was like, yeah, this kid's going to be the truth. And people don't want to hear it, but I worked at NJ.com and covered New Jersey wrestling. Suriano is the best high school wrestler to ever come out of New Jersey. And it's not even – you talk about Mako or Damian Hahn or Suriano, he got taken down in the quarterfinals of the Beast of the East his freshman year and then didn't get taken down the rest of his high school career, wrestling Bergen Catholic schedule.
And that's including a 27-minute match with Dayton Fix.
Yeah, like he can't – I don't know. How do you take that guy down? When Vito took him down he got one takedown, beat him at the Open, Senior Nationals, whatever it was, 2 years ago. But I think people are sleeping on Nicky.
Nicky push-ups. He's done, don't you think?
At Rutgers?
In college.
Yeah, I'd say probably. What do I know? I mean, he won the Natty, right? He wanted to be a national champ and won a national championship. And also, too, like, when you're that much of a savant in anything, like, do what you want to do, right? If your heart's not, I don't want to speak for him. I don't know where he's at or what the deal is, but like I like rock and roll, right? And I love the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I read Andy Kiedis' book, Scar Tissue, that talks about John Frusciante, and it's like the ultimate like mensch complex, right? Where it's like you are like such a phenom and such like at this one specific thing that do what you want, power to him, man. Good kid too. Sorry, I don't know.
No, I mean, I his wrestling ability has never been my issue with him. I personally have things with people that I feel like take life a little bit too seriously, and I think that's just his persona. It may not even be him. I could be completely off, but everything he looks at is like with focus. And sometimes I'm like, chill,
Yeah.
man. Throw up a hammock, relax. And he may really be like that. I don't know, right? But that's my personal thing with him. But on
Yeah,
the
but
mat,
Chris,
I mean, guy's a killer.
Chris, you're from California. He's from New Jersey.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
That's two different
No,
playing fields.
he's that intense. I'd imagine you could play checkers with him and he'd be that intense.
Yeah, yeah. I did. I was at the Atlantic. I was at Atlantic City I guess a year and a half ago now, and I ended up being out just a little bit, probably later than I probably should have before I headed back to my hotel. And I was like, oh, I can see why there's some badass dudes that need to come out of this area. Like, it's pretty rough.
Atlantic City too. It's funny. Like they have the New Jersey State Tournament in Atlantic City, which for me, like I've been to every kind of sporting event there is. It's my personal favorite. But like, if you go 2 blocks off the boardwalk, you're in like not a very nice area. You stay on the boardwalk. Like all the high school kids will go down, but it's like stay on the boardwalk, go to the arena, go back to the hotel.
Yeah, that makes sense. It adds up. I did the math.
This
That
Gable
tournament is
celebration.
so cool. Yeah.
Oh, that Gable running off the mat. I didn't see. Did they just show it?
Yeah, they just showed it.
Okay.
It's so weird that they're not shaking hands. I was like, wait, he's not going to shake hands? And I realized, oh, wait, you can't, or whatever, get your hand raised. Cody Arnold, my shoe game knowledge, I'm trying to pick it up a little bit. But we want to do some shoe content this offseason, so I got to start studying up a little bit. All right, last match here. Let's end it
Do
strong.
some collab work with Blood Round. They're big.
Are they
on the
big shoe
game.
guys? They're Adidas
Yeah.
guys, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Orndorff wrestled for Utah Valley in previous years, and I don't know if you guys have ever watched Utah Valley wrestle, but their athletic director, I think it is literally like on the side of the mat during every single match, like with pom poms, like yelling up and like it's a lady screaming up and down. It's crazy. It's fun to watch though. Like they got railroaded by Iowa State, and she was still like everywhere.
I love it. That's awesome.
You know who's a mystery to me is Taylor Lamont out there. Like that guy his freshman year was so good, and then since then it's just kind of I don't know what's going on. I know he's a big Greco guy. He's really good at Greco, but I mean he was really good at folk style his freshman year, and then ever since it's just kind of I don't know what happened. Cassiopei's out there 3-1
If Ohio State wanted to win this, they would have had
or 3-1.
Yeah, they would have had Gas Tank on the mat. So.
Gas Tank Gary, he actually I think he helps out with Barbarian sometimes in the off season.
Oh really? That's cool.
Where's Cassiope from? Is he an Illinois guy?
Illinois.
Yeah.
I only know because I can vividly picture their Fargo singlets when they did like the picnic table looking ones.
When he was a freshman, he said he wanted to get the pen record. I don't know if that was for a single season, like across NCAA, or if that was for a career record for just Iowa or a career record for NCAA, but I wonder how on pace he is with that. Because when he first came out, he was pinning everybody his freshman year.
I think he pinned his first 3 people.
But he did get a pin earlier today, so.
Oh, we have a Croc sighting. We have DeSanto in the Crocs. And that's a team point because that kid's wearing a beanie. That is not allowed per the regulations of the NCAA. And the medical staff behind him has a hat on, so that's another team point. That's how stupid those rules are.
Like wrestling's not hard enough to follow anyway. It's like, wait, what happened? Oh, they lost a point because this guy would. Oh, all right.
Had a hat on. Yeah.
I think Cassiope's going to get the fall. But that doesn't matter, I don't think. Yep, that'd be 19. So
Oh yeah, it won't matter.
I was kind of nervous about that one, Chris, because I was like, you know what's gonna happen? It's not gonna cover at 28, but it's gonna cover at 30 when I should have got it originally.
Oh yeah. Well, as long as we hit that parlay, I'll be good. So if Ohio State covers the plus 55 or 5.5, I'll hit the parlay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get Big Ten Network and watch that one.
Oh, we got 2 sets of Crocs in the background now. It's getting ugly.
A lot of dude shoes. Dude shoes might be the most #1 selling shoe of all time. He's gonna get the fall.
I'll tell you, you can love or hate DeSanto, but that dude is a fan of the sport. I mean, he watches every match. He goes crazy. I mean, I bet you if the JV kids were out there, he'd be losing his shit on the side of the mat too.
Joe, when you were at Flow, and if you can't talk about anything, then don't. But how much of a spike did the accounts get when you would talk about DeSanto?
It feeds into each other, right? Like you need to, as me, as a marketing person, you need to identify opportunity and then you need to kind of push that opportunity, right? Like I think another good example is Forrest Molinari. It's like, okay, like there's a little buzz here. Let's lean into it. Like let's really lean into it. So like DeSanto, people were intrinsically a little interested. People were intrinsically interested. But when you lean into it more, like he kind of became I don't want to say a little bit of a meme, but it was never like I was always afraid that he would take it personally or feel like we're making fun of him. Oh, geez, he's going to his back.
That's over.
Yeah. He got him.
He is not getting him. Long story short, there is a lot of people who like to watch DeSanto wrestle.
I mean, I'm one of them.
I was.
That was. I mean, he pinned him, but that was. He didn't pin him. I don't think he pinned him. Do you think he pinned him?
I didn't think he was really pinned, but I mean.
That ref said, "Let's get out of here."
Yeah. I watched the DeSanto Kamara, like when he tried to get Mičić in the armbar, essentially. Same thing. It was right in front of me. It was on the same mat as the one I was talking about earlier. And I think he became kind of a villain, but when he goes to Iowa, they embrace the villain, right? So now your user base, so many people are going to be just by default. They're like, oh, he's a villain and he's our villain now. Like, this is great.
Well, I think even before he went there, people were like, man, he should be a wrestler at Iowa, and then it happened. It's crazy. All right, everybody, thanks for joining us. Joe, where can they find you? Fantasy Fight League, go ahead and shout it out real quick. What is it on Twitter?
Yep, fantasyfightleague.com. We have we're gonna have Penn State and Iowa game up tonight. We're gonna spread some more out throughout the week. We have a game up for UFC. Also, shout out Fan Control Football. Streaming on Twitch, Startup Football League. So we have some games with them and more stuff coming along. Appreciate everyone playing. We have
Yep.
about
Thanks, Joe.
125.
And Christian, your Twitter, just a personality.
Yeah, the _Mr_amazing. So,
all right.
Only follow me if you want somebody who has no idea what they're talking about.
Speaking of people who don't know what they're talking about, thank you for following Stalemates. Shout out to our sponsors, Matt Man and Barbarian Apparel. We're going to wrap this up. One more duel to get the parlay going. Let's go, boys. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you guys.